Hello, and welcome to this video where we will learn about how to use the game features and the modular gameplay plugins. This is not a video to sell you to use the feature. This is only a video to show you how to use it. And in the end, you will take your own conclusions if this is useful for you or not. In short, these features help us build the standalone features that you can quickly activate or deactivate. And in our case, we will make a game feature that when it activates, it will show UI elements to help the player find useful items. So first, let's create our project. I'm creating a blank project with the first person template. So it's really not blank. Select that. I'm calling it Game Features Demo, and blueprints, for now, it's alright. I was struggling to find a simple example to use these features because they are really powerful and they make a lot more sense when you already have a game, well, the structure of a game defined, right? So first, let me dismiss these plugins, let me update. Perfect. First, we need to set up the project. We need to activate the plugins that I mentioned. So let's go to Edit, Plugins, and now let's find Game Features, enable it. Let's find also Modular Gameplay, enable this too, and it will show us that we need to restart the editor. Before we do that, let's create our own gameplay feature. So let's click on New Plugin, select, it's not showing me, well, if it's not showing me here gameplay features, then no choice but restart now. Let's create a new plugin, and I clicked outside, here it is, game feature content only. Because we are creating it from here, we can only create a game feature that is content only, which is really fine. You can give it an author name, you can give it a description. I have it at my side here. When the game feature activates, it will show UI elements to help the player find useful items. Perfect. And now let's give it a name. I will call it, because it's a feature that could be really useful in survival games, I'm calling it Survival Item Highlight Feature. A highlight, usually you would want to have a material that shows an outer highlight of the shape, but for now an icon is fine. Just a quick side note, be sure that you are saving it here to plugins game features, otherwise it will not let you create it. For example, if I delete that, it will tell me, it enforces this. So just be sure, it should be fine. Create it, and now it has auto-created here this folder for my game feature content. And you can call it a plugin. It behaves sometimes like it, and there are some fine details that are not exactly from plugins. You can learn more about it in the last, well, I will say last, but you may see this video month after. In one of the Unreal highlight streams that the Epic team did, you can learn more about it there. So now, if this data asset wasn't created by automatically, then you just need to right click, miscellaneous, go to data asset, and here you need to select the game feature data. I will not create it because mine was created, but if you need to create it here, then be sure to name it exactly the same as our game feature. One other thing that you will know that it will probably pop up, it's here in the message log, and I will drag it to my main screen. It says that the asset manager settings do not include an entry for assets of the type game feature data, which is required for the game feature plugins to function. You can just click here on add entry and that takes care of it. This is just adding appropriate changes to the default engine.ini, and after you do this one time, then the message won't pop up again. So now we can continue. Because we want to show a UI element near our items, what we will find useful is to add a component that handles all that stuff, right? And every game feature have some actions you can do. For example, we can have also more than one action. The action for now that comes with the default Unreal Engine 5 early access are these four. They wanted to add some inputs here to have more interesting stuff that they already did in the Valley of the Ancient demo. But for now, we can add cheats that are like any functionality that we want to run through the console command that can help us debug our game, add components that we will use, a data registry or data registry source if we wanted to access some information from any of these places. So for now, we just want to add components. This will be the same as just dragging and dropping components in our gameplay, and we will make the comparison, don't worry. Now, if we open these add components, here are the components that we want to add. Let's add one. Let's open the specifics of this component, and here is the actor class that we want to add the component to. And we can select any class here. And this is the component class that will be added to the actor class, right? So we need, for this example, we need to create both of these. Let's create first our component class that will handle all of the logic. So because it will be a component that will be added, this component needs to be in the same folder that our survival item highlight feature content. So here I will create item highlight, and inside that folder I'm gonna create a blueprint, and here I need an actor component. Now let's call it pp item highlight and component. Here I wanted an underscore. So now let's press enter, and there we have our component that we want to add. Let's make it work. First, this component, let's double click it and save it. Also, let me save this one just in case. Oh, it's showing me an error because this component is not adding anything yet. So, but let's not worry about that just yet. So here I want to add my widget, add it to whatever character or whatever actor my component is a child of. So first we need our widget that we need to add. Let's create our widget that we want to show. So now widget blueprint wp, and here let's call it something like highlight UI. Let's open it, and here I don't need a canvas panel, I just need an image. Gonna drag it here. Now this image, I want it to be not only a blank white image. So let's use our target point texture. So here in all classes, I'm gonna type target point, gonna drag and drop it, and I'm gonna search for the texture here. And here it is. I'm gonna press Ctrl C to copy it, and now I'm gonna go find my folder that it was called survival item highlight feature content. I'm gonna paste it inside this, Ctrl B to paste it, and I'm gonna rename it. Usually you would want to have your own texture, but I don't want to complicate things, or I'm using this texture from the engine to hide all these folders. Now I can go here to settings and show engine content, and now I only have my plugins, my game feature here, and everything that got added with the first person template. Now let's select our texture here open our widget, and here in brush, while selecting our image, let's press use. And if that didn't work, then select again the texture and press use. No, you can also drag and drop on top, and that will work also. Now here, let's set it to, instead of fill screen, desired on screen. That will make it so it will use this image size. And here I will reduce it by 4. So it's 64 by 64. That's a better size for now. We can change it later. Let's save. We already have our widget that we want to show. So now what we need to do is, in our component that will be handling all the stuff, we need to create this widget. So let's here in the begin play, create widget, and now select our widget, save it to a reference. This reference will be the widget reference. And now we need, I want to show it on the map, like a 3D object. And I don't want to care too much about the screen location. I just want it to be on the map. We can use a component that already handled this for us. So here, what we will do is create a widget component. So let's add a component by class, select our widget component. In the relative transform, I wanted to use the 0, 0. So let's split it, and this is fine. And here, let's save the reference, promote variable, and widget component ref. Perfect. Now I want to set up my widget component so it's gonna use my widget blueprint. So here, in the widget component ref, get it, and now set the widget you want to use, set widget. And the widget that I want to use is the one that I created. So here, widget ref, this is the one that I created. And now we also have to set up our desired screen space, our desired space. So let's here use the set widget space. Here I'm gonna press screen, and here I'm also gonna set that draw at desired size to true. This will make it so the widget blueprint has the authority on how large I want it to be, the image. And let me put it like this so it is more organized. Now, this one will be following, let's save it, the desired size, desired on the screen, and this is the image size, so it will be following that image. So let's test if our component is working properly. You can add this component to any of the actors there is in this first person template map, or any actor that you created. Here you can press add, and we just need to find our widget, our component. So it is item highlight component. Let's press play, and here is giving me a compile error. Let's go to it and cancel. And it is because I can't add a component to another component. So here I need to get the owner. It's just get owner. And this will be the actor that has contained this component. In this case, compile, I can't get owner. Yeah, get owner at widget compile. No, I wanted to get the get owner, target is actor component. So now if I added my component here, the owner is this box. So in this box, this editor cube will add my widget, and there it is. This is what I wanted to have, right? This is the functionality that I needed. It's pretty simple. So what I want to do is to use this modular functionality and these gameplay features that we can activate and deactivate. So let's delete this component. Right. So now that we have this created, we can go back to our data asset of this gameplay feature. Here I needed to add to an actor class, and I needed to set up which component I want to add. I already created the component here, so let's do it. Let's use it. BP item highlight component. With the component added, we need to select a type of actor class that we want to add this component to when this feature is activated, right? So I want to just use this type of tooltips or, well, UI help in very important items. So let's create those. I'm gonna go to my content. I'm gonna create a new folder, and I'm gonna use some principles that you can find, some concepts of the game making UA4, I believe now is UA5, a style guide that Michael Allar has created. I can link to it in the description. And here I'm gonna create first the name of my game. This is a survival item highlight, well, survival game, I'm gonna call it. Gonna open it. This item will be very important to the game, so it should be in a folder called core. And inside core, I'm gonna create a folder that are game objects. And here, finally, I'm gonna create my very important item. And I'm gonna call it blueprint important item. Now, with this created, I need to, well, first, I want to add a cube to it so I can see it. And now, gonna save it. This should be all the logic that I need. I'm gonna put it on the map, and it's fine if it's looking just like other cubes, because in survival games you don't want to be too direct on where the cool or the important stuff here is, right? So you can make the player explore a lot of zones, right? Maybe this is an ability that, I don't know, you can get by leveling up your character, and it is easier for you to find important stuff on the map, right? So I have placed it on the map. Now I'm gonna go back to my data asset, and I'm gonna select the actors that I want to add this component. So we know, in my case, is the important items. Perfect. Now let's test it. But having said that, there is a little thing we have to do first. In order, well, to add the component to the actor, we need to set it up here, but also we need to tell the actor to be open to receiving that component. So we need to go to my blueprint important item, and here in the begin play, I'm gonna get the game framework component manager, and here I'm gonna select add receiver. Now this is okay. The receiver is self. Let's make it double sure that it's gonna get the self. And now let's save it, compile it. Let's save all. Yeah. And now let's press play. We are not seeing anything, right? But we can go to our survival item data asset, and here we can change it to active, and now we can see it. Pretty nice, right? We can also roll back the state, for example, to install, but we will see that the components are not being removed. And this is because here, when we're playing in Pi, that is playing editor, this part of the memory is not being released. It is still loaded. But if we wanted to change it, we just needed, well, if we wanted to see the change, we just need here in the enter console command, open the map again. Be on the lookout that I have not finished playing. I have not hit stop. I just gonna open the map, open, and the map is called first person example map. I'm gonna press enter, and I had some errors here. I may have typed the map wrong. So let me copy my map name so I won't fail miserably. Let's press copy. Now let's do it again. Play. Survival item active. I can see it. I'm gonna deactivate it. Gonna go to the console command, open, and first person example map. I believe I forgot example. Now that we open the map, again, we have not finished playing, so it gets unloaded. Something like this happens also when you are doing localization. You need to open the map again because the localized text stays loaded. And I could call it like the tutorial is done, but here I just want to add something else. I want to have the ability that during gameplay, I can have the option of toggling my gameplay features, right? I don't know, maybe pressing Q loads it and pressing E unloads it. If we wanted to do that, I can show you a picture on how the Valley of the Ancient does it. I believe I have the picture here. They have a function called Toggle Game Feature plugin. You just put the name of the game feature and enable it or disable it. Pretty nice, but this does not exist in the current release. For example, I'm gonna enter the character that it should be in my first person blueprints character. And here, like I said, I wanted to use the Q key to load Q. I'm gonna print load gameplay feature. And how did the function toggle game feature plugin? This does not exist. And I'm gonna remove the context sensitive, and really this does not exist. You can add it. I enter the C++ code and this is what I got. It's a really simple function. You could create it in your project if you're using C++. And you can find it in the ancient game mode base that is in the, where is it? Ancient game framework, ancient game mode base. And this is the code that you would use. But for blueprints, right now, what we could do is just using some console commands. So for example, here, I can use execute console command. And here it gets a little bit tricky. Hopefully I do not misspell something. I'm gonna put load game feature plugin space the name of my feature plugin that I don't want to get wrong, so let me copy and paste it. This is the name that I want, and I'm gonna paste it at the end, right? So let's test it. Play. Here I'm gonna press Q and it loads. If I want to unload it, then I will do something very similar. Let's use the E key for this, and there are a lot of stuff with E. E key should be somewhere here. Here it is. And now I want to do almost the same. I'm just gonna replace here load by unload. And you can get rid of this print string. I just want to have something in my screen that shows me that pressing the E key worked. And here I just need to put unload. So now let's press play, and I'm gonna use the new editor window, playing in editor. And let's, why is it loaded? Let me check. Here's active. Installed in order for it to not be loaded. Even if it's loaded, I believe it won't show up. Yeah, it won't show up. It needs to be active. So now with Q, let's activate it. It gets activated, and let's unload it now with E. You can see that it reflects in my data asset, but not in my game. I just need to open my game again. I'm gonna press my console command with apostrophe, or well, it's still there, I believe, but I changed it a little bit so I can use it with an Spanish keyboard. And here I'm gonna press open, and I'm gonna use the name of the level that I'm probably gonna screw up. So let me copy again. First person, F2 to change the name, just copy it, escape, and go back to the demo. Here, press P, Ctrl B, open first person example map, enter, and it gets unloaded. This should not happen with a packaged game. It just happened with the play in editor stuff. And well, I haven't tested it, but that's what the stream said, so I'm gonna believe it for now. So this has been a pretty cool example on how to use this game features demo. Well, this game feature plugin and the modular gameplay plugin also. And now I can tell you why it's very useful and very powerful. It is, like you have seen, easy to activate or deactivate a functionality of the game that is not ready for release. So if you're working on, for example, this functionality and you do not have the icons ready for release, you can just, well, let's deactivate it, and we don't have to show any of this functionality that is not ready to the public or to our publisher or to our testers. And the testers will always believe that anything that you are showing them, it's ready, so they can put on their Excels that, oh, this feature is not ready. So instead of having a lot of booleans where you need to disable some features, you can use this type of workflow, so it's easier to activate or deactivate. Also, the Epic team mentioned that one use case for them is for seasonal content that can be activated or deactivated during a period of time. So maybe if you have assets for Christmas, you can change the static mesh to match the season, right? So that's pretty cool also. And because it works as a plugin, this ensures the modularity of the code. You can be pretty certain that anything here is not using any reference from something outside. So you can copy and paste this on another project, or you can be sure that whenever you deactivate it, this is auto-contained and encapsulated on this folder. And that's a really good way of programming stuff and adding things to the game, so it can be reusable in the future. Hope this video was not too long and you can get value out of it. Let us know if you want to touch another subject of the game feature on modular gameplay. And yeah, if this was useful to you, be sure to leave us a like, subscribe, the bell, and all the good stuff in order for you not to miss any other content that can be useful to you. See you next time and take care.